So this week, the subject that I'm going to talk about, it really feels like I talk about the same subject every single week. And if that's the case, and if you feel the same way, it's only because the majority of people aren't getting it. People aren't understanding. So like, I feel like every week I have to come in and say it some different way, that maybe one week it'll resonate with you or it'll resonate with all the people that are watching this video. And here's the thing. Success just does not come overnight. I know we live in a world where, we see everyone on Instagram and on Facebook, and it really seems like they're super successful and it seems like it came overnight, but that just isn't the case. It really just does not come overnight. It's going to be a process. You have to go through a whole bunch of things before you get to the end, because I can promise you this, right? If you just got the success, 9 times out of 10, for 99 out of 100 of you that are watching this video, you probably wouldn't be ready for it. It's probably almost the best thing to happen for you for the success to not come, because the worst thing to happen is you get to the level that you think that you want to get to and you're not prepared, and then you get knocked off, and then you never ever get the opportunity to get back to that place again. Right? And everyone that I've ever seen that has gotten to a high place of success and they weren't ready for it, they ended up getting knocked off, and then they were never, ever able to get back to their former place of grace. Right? Look at all the, probably the best example is like music artists, right? Look at all the music artists that they say are like one-hit wonders. Well, the reason why some of those people are one-hit wonders is because maybe they came out with their first song and they got this like tremendous amount of success and they weren't prepared for it. They weren't ready to deal with it, and then they got to that level and they weren't ready to deal with it. They weren't able to take advantage of that opportunity, and when they fell off, they fell off hard and they were unable to stand up. They were unable to get back to where they were at again, So I want everyone watching this to, if you're really, really working hard and you've been working consistently and persistently towards some goal or dream, look at it as fortunate that you haven't gotten to the level that you want to get to yet, because more than likely, if you haven't gotten there yet, there's a reason why. Maybe there's some more skills that you need to develop before you get there. And it's probably a blessing that you haven't gotten there. I know even for myself, I aspire to be, one of the great speakers in this world. And guess what? I'm not ready for that yet. But every time I do one of these videos, every time I do my videos on Instagram every single day, every time I do my weekly shows, every time I travel all over the country and do a workshop, that's preparing me for that place that I want to go to. And I'm in no super rush, because guess what? I trust the process. I know that when the time is right, I'll be on that big stage. And until then, I'm just preparing. I'm just getting myself ready. So when I do get that opportunity, I'm ready to take advantage of that opportunity, and I'm ready to run with the ball. I have that ball and I'm ready to run with it. And trust me, no one's going to stop me from there. I say this I talk about this all the time. Over the last few days, I've talked to some of my coaching clients and some other people that I work with and whatnot. And it's like, and I can just hear the frustration in their voices. But, and I try my best to really emphasize to them, to make them really understand that success is just a process. It takes a while. You got to fall in. And I've done video on this before, falling in love with the journey, and there's so many philosophers. Go back and look at some of the great philosophers of all time, and they'll tell you that the journey is better than the destination. I even look back at myself and, and on all the different businesses that I started, and I can look back and and find the enjoyment in actually building that business up. And once I got to a certain level where I really didn't have to do that much more work, it became boring, and I became disinterested in that particular business and wanted to move on to something else. But when I go back and I look at, the struggle, the obstacles, That was really the fun part. Now, it may not have felt that fun at the time because I didn't know how to perceive that, right? But that was really the fun part, overcoming those obstacles, doing all the things that I needed to do to get to a certain level, So this is the way that I look at life. And I think this is the problem that most people are having. Most people underestimate what they can do in 10 years, but they overestimate where they should be at after 6 months. So here it is, right? We sit down and we set these goals and we think that, okay, in 6 months or a year, and really, to be honest with you, most people aren't even giving themselves 6 months or a year. Most people are giving themselves like 3 weeks. So they feel like they're going to come in, they're going to put in hard work for 3 weeks, and then they should blow up. They should be a huge success. They should become a millionaire in 3 weeks. And it just doesn't happen like that. It's not going to happen in 3 weeks. It's not going to happen in 3 months. And to be honest with you, it's probably not going to even happen in 3 years. It takes time. Go in. And the best thing that anyone can do, because here's the thing, I can say this to you right now, and then you'll get it today. And in 2 days from now, you're going to be frustrated again because you haven't had the success that you wanted to have in the 2 days, right? So the best thing that you can do is go in and start studying really, really successful people. If you go in and really, and I'm not talking about watching the little documentary on them that's like 20 minutes long that shows them working hard in their basement and then blowing up in and they make it seem like it happened in 30 days, because that generally doesn't happen. If you go in and really read some of these successful people's books, right? Watch the longer documentaries and just really pay attention to the time frames. You'll see that a lot of times that success that seems like it came in 20 days, 30 days or whatever, really took 10 or 20 years. Those people had been working at their craft for years, 10, 15, 20 years before something really popped. But when it popped, it popped. I don't really know too many people that study successful people has studied as many successful people as I have. I've studied pretty much every one of the billionaires, the richest people in this planet and whatnot. And I'm telling you, same thing happens every single time. From that person, especially someone that started out with absolutely nothing. That person started out with nothing, or let's say $100, $200, even $5,000 or $10,000, whatever amount of money that they started off, right? And it took them, it was a process for them to get to whatever it is that they started off with, whether it be $100, $5,000, $10,000, or even $100,000 loan. But it was a process for them to get from that initial position all the way to maybe $1 million or $2 million or $5 million. It might have taken them 10 or 15 years to get there, right? But once they got to that level, even say 10 years, once they got to that level, right? That $1 million level or that $5 million level, it was nothing for them to go to the next level. So it didn't take them another 10 years to get to 10 million or 100 million or even $1 billion. All right. They just had to it just took all that time to get to that first level. Because here's the thing, all that time that it took you, all those 5 or 10 years that it took you to get to that level, you were learning all sorts of skills and techniques that you can use. Now you get to the $1 million level, you got your toolbox filled with all these techniques and skills and everything that you need. And now you got a little bit of money, and now you got a network. Now it's time to really make it pop. So to go to that next level, it's going to happen exponentially. It's going to happen really, really fast, as long as you're still staying focused, right? And that's how success really works. It's kind of like going up a mountain. And here's the thing. You're not climbing the mountain like a traditional mountain climber or rock climber. You are taking the long way around. You're going around the mountain. And you're walking around, but it feels like you're not going anywhere. But there's a slight incline, right? It might just be like a 2-degree incline. And you're walking and walking and walking, and you're not even realizing that you're going up the mountain. It just feels like you're walking around in a circle, right? But you're not really walking around in a circle. You're actually walking up the mountain. It's just that the incline is so slight that it feels like you're not going anywhere. But I can promise you this, if you keep walking, if you keep going up that mountain, and then it's a slight incline, and that's fine, slight incline, going all the way around, slight incline, before you know it, if you keep walking and you don't stop or you don't turn around and go back, you'll be at the top of that mountain. And here's the thing, right? Let's say that there's something at that mountain that you got to defeat once you get up there to claim that mountain. That's going to be your mountain. But let's say there's a dragon up at that mountain. And most people want to take the easy route and go straight to the top. But here's the thing. There's all sorts of tools and techniques and people that you got to meet along the way as you're going up that mountain that's going to tell you how to defeat that dragon that's at the top of that mountain. But in your rush to get to the top of the mountain, you miss all the techniques and all the tricks and all the tools. Because here's the thing, as you're walking up that first, couple hundred feet, right? You're going to meet a little old man, and the little old man is going to say, hey, have this sword. But he's not going to even tell you what the sword is for. Right? Then you're going to walk up another couple miles, and then you're going to meet another person, and they're going to say, hey, here's this rock. All right? Then you're going to walk up a little bit more, and then somebody else is going to give you another tool, right? Or another technique. And then right before you get to the top of the mountain and you face that dragon at the top of the mountain, you're going to meet another person that's going to say, all right, this is how it's supposed to go. You got your sword. You're going to be like, yeah, I got my sword. You got your rock? Yeah, I got the rock. You got your hammer? Yeah, I got my hammer. Okay, this is how you defeat the dragon. You're going to first take the rock and throw it at the dragon's face, right? And the dragon is going to fall. Then now when the dragon falls, you take the hammer and you hit his foot. Then when you hit his foot and he goes all the way down, you use the sword and chop off his head. But here's the thing. If you would have rushed up the mountain and didn't take your time and learn all the techniques, right? When you got to the top, you wouldn't even know how to use your tools. So what would happen? You'd be dragging dinner, baby. You'd be dragging dinner. That's why it takes a while for you to get to the top of that mountain, because you got to learn all the techniques, all the tricks, everything that you need to learn. So when you get up there, that's your mountain. Nobody's sending you back down, and you ready to go to another mountain peak. All right? Thank you much.